Welcome to the Top Shelf Dusters podcast. I am Amanda. I am the fact checker for this crew. And today we are joined with Jesse. Jesse.
I'm not talking to you until the series is over.
Wow.
Okay, so mortal enemy Jesse is joining us today. Anything else you want to say, Jesse?
I've got nothing to say to you.
Perfect. This is going to be a great podcast, this series. And joined by Brett.
Let's go Panthers. Finally found out who we're going to play yesterday when Cass's Bruins beat the Leafs once again in Game 7. So we'll be taking on the Bruins again. They'll be looking for some revenge, obviously.
With Cass.
Jesse's attitude just reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
The only reason I'm here right now.
Bruins are 4-0 this season against the Florida Panthers.
They are.
Jeremy Swayman is on a hot streak right now with a .950 save percentage over the 6 playoff games that he had. Let's go. This is going to be a great series. I can't wait. Let's do 7 o'clock starts instead of 8, though, okay? No more hockey night in Canada, BS.
What are you going to do?
Ethan.
It all comes down to this. Game 7 in downtown Dallas. Dum, 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 dum. Go Stars.
Y'all better do it. Better do it. Better get her
It's now or
done.
never. Now or never.
Yes, please. Go Stars. Yes.
It'll
I watched the game yesterday, or not yesterday. I watched the Game 6, and I think that's why Dallas lost. So I will not be watching Game 7.
good. I will be there. And I've never not wanted to go to a game more than today.
Unless they lose.
But no, I've never not. It's a double negative.
I
So
see. I see.
Yeah. But you know, it'll be fun. Game 7 atmosphere is always intense, so it'll be a fun experience. And something I haven't told you guys, but this long hair I've been growing out since 2020. The goal was to cut it when I turned 30 this year in July, but due to losing a bet with my sister on the gender of her baby, I will be cutting it whenever the Stars play their last game. So there's a chance.
So he's
the
going to be
hair
bald
comes
tomorrow.
down this week.
Oh, boy.
Does your sister get to cut it, too?
No, because I have to go to a certain place because I'm going to donate it.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah. But anyways, let's talk some news.
So it was announced earlier this week that former head coach of the Seattle Kraken, Dave Hakstol, was fired, and that no replacement has been named. This was Hakstol's third season as head coach, and this is the second time in 3 seasons that they missed the playoffs. I am a little surprised that this happened. I thought, and I said this in earlier episodes, I thought that they were going to at least give him another year because his extension was supposed to kick in next year. But also at the same time, I am not disappointed at it. I did not like Dave Hakstol as a head coach. I didn't like him as a coach in Philadelphia. I did not like him when they named him as the coach in Seattle. I really wanted them to name Rick Tocchet, but that's how she goes. He was ousted earlier this week, and I am really excited about that. So I'm hoping to see somebody really prominent get in that position in Seattle.
They're about 7 months too late.
Agreed.
Who are you hoping that takes Hakstol's place there in Seattle, Jesse? Do you have a preference?
Rod Brind'Amour is going to take it.
Hey, that looks likely.
Stay away from him. Thank you very much.
Rod Brind'Amour, head coach of the Seattle Kraken.
Do you?
No.
That makes me may want to ask you a question, Amanda. Is like Brind'Amour gone if they lose in the second round?
No. I know. Brind'Amour wants to be a Kane, like for like he's made it very
As long
clear.
as he can.
Yeah, this is where he wants to stay. Don Waddell just earlier this week was like, yes, we're closing in, like we're making it happen. Like very much brushed it off as not a big deal that it's going to happen too. Rod has always been very focused on making sure his assistants get what they deserve first, and then he'll kind of negotiate his terms after that. So, sorry, Jesse, you cannot have him.
Yeah, we're working out a deal to not extend Rod Brindamore here in Carolina so he can go with Ron Francis in Seattle.
Am I the only one who saw the news about the contract talks?
No, I saw the news about the contract talks, and that's what she was just talking about.
The deal seemed close,
But not final.
but they pulled the offer.
They haven't announced it yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's what all the rumors are.
Right.
and it looks like he wants to maybe
Go to
test
Seattle.
the market.
Yeah, go to Seattle. Where he's going to go.
That was 4 days ago at least.
Back
Things
to
change.
So Jesse, I can't tell if you're just trying to get under Amanda's skin or if that's your actual answer.
it's
He's
a
actually
little bit
not
of both.
talking to her this episode.
A little bit of both. Because I keep bringing up Gallant, but it seems like that's not really. No one really has a preference for him. He's just been kind of sitting out here since your Rangers fired him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the deal is with that. I think Berube is going to get a spot before Gallant does. There's a lot of rumors that Berube is going to end up in New Jersey, so that would be a little scary for me.
Keefe, you could take Keefe.
Sheldon Keefe, yep. He's not gonna be Toronto's coach much longer.
Speaking of breaking news, no, just kidding. He's going to end up in Pittsburgh back with his boy Dubas.
Oh my gosh.
But before
Heard it
we
here first.
Before we end on the Kraken thing, there was something else I wanted to mention. There was a little bit of a report that came out earlier this week by Emily Kaplan of ESPN that said that there were a lot of prominent players that mentioned to management that they didn't want to come back if Hackstall was going to be the head coach next season.
Wow.
So I'm not sure if anyone saw that.
I didn't see that. Wow.
The Kraken and Ron Francis are vehemently denying that allegation. It says that the Kraken are extremely disappointed in a report that players demanded Dave Hackstall's firing. Jared McCann came out and said that that was not something that he was looking for or that he heard of any other players say. It just looks like we lost Ethan. But yeah, I thought that was a little surprising to me because I didn't get the atmosphere that the team wanted him out. It didn't seem like that to me.
I'd be shocked if any player openly admit it, even if they did.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said when there's smoke, there's fire. Like, people don't make stuff up unless you're that guy from Toronto. I forget what. Maybe it's Edmonton. Anyway, Dave Spector
Billy?
or whatever. Billy Joel? Yeah. No. But who would be a prominent player there? Like, no offense to anyone, they don't have a superstar.
No,
Matty
they don't.
Beniers is
Jared
not old enough to
McCann.
speak up. Not Jared McCann. Now you got me all screwed up. Matty Beniers is not old
Grubauer.
enough to want to speak up. Yeah, I don't think he's comfortable enough in that locker room. So, like, Burakovsky and Bjorkstrand haven't been long enough to have that relationship with the GM, I wouldn't think.
Oh man, who's there?
Maybe
the one
like
guy,
Turbo?
fourth overall pick.
Shane Wright, who has played
Yeah,
3 games.
it was Shane Wright. It was him.
Shane Wright, player of 3 Seattle Kraken games, ousted Dave Hackstall.
That's right.
Real quick, to Sheldon Keefe. Did you guys see that quote from last night?
Yes.
Oh, it's brutal.
Yes, it's brutal. I saw it. I
Teams
watched
play the Leafs.
I
They
saw, I
set
watched sorry.
Oh.
You go.
Leafs. They set up the game for the Leafs to beat themselves.
What an
Wow.
amazing quote.
I
That
started
might beat
my
with bonuses.
I started my day with watching Steve Dangle's video just because I knew it was going to be good. And he shared that tweet and he was like, "Are you kidding?" He's like, maybe he already knew he was fired, so he just figured he'd say it.
That is the words of a dead man walking, I would say. I mean, it's a little ridiculous that he would put that out there. But also at the same time, I mean, he's got to be done, right? He's got to be.
Gotta be.
What else? That him and the core are going to get blown up, I think.
Well, look, Steve Dangle was also saying Shanahan's job is also in jeopardy because he's been here for all the blown leads, the blown game sevens, all those first round exits. He's been here for all of them.
I believe that too. I think that that's very possible as well. Cass, you got anything to add to the demise of the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I would be in a totally different mood if that didn't end the way it did. The narrative would have switched very quickly from the Leafs always sucking in the first round. The Bruins can't get out of the first round because they lost in, I believe it was what year? The go ahead, Brett.
I was gonna say you guys were in danger of losing 7 straight games of a possible clinch. Like that would have been a pretty rough record.
They would have been the first team to
And that one, yeah. Blow 3-1
Wanna say it?
leads in consecutive postseasons, yeah. But they didn't, so they're good.
Thanks, Cass.
So,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
Who, me? Go ahead.
Whoever.
I think I'm back. Am I back?
Yes,
You are
you're
back,
You're back.
Ethan. You're
yeah,
having some
our-
internet issues there, I guess.
Our Wi-Fi has been jacked up since last night. We had massive storms in Dallas, and things shorted out a lot.
Fun
Or
times.
the power went out a lot. So it's just. Anyways, some other news came out of Tampa Bay after being eliminated. Of course, you see this happen with a lot of teams. Teams get eliminated, and then all of a sudden you find out all these injuries the players had. So I'm just going to run through the list. So Cernak had a shoulder AC joint sprain in Game 2. Glendening had a dislocated shoulder and labral tear on April 15th. Hagel had a glute strain in Game 3. Johansson had a quad tear on March 30th. Mott, I think it's Mott, a broken ankle. Perbix, a shoulder AC joint sprain in Game 1. Radish had an abdominal and left hip iliac crest contusion from a cross check in Game 3. And Sherry had a ruptured tendon in his finger on December 30th.
Ooh.
What? December 30th? Okay, that was a while
That's
ago.
forever ago.
But yeah, so those are the injuries that happened in Tampa.
One thing that's notable from this is the players on here are their depth players. And a lot of the issue with Tampa that series is they had to rely too heavily on Stamkos, Kucherov, and Point. And Florida's putting out their best guys to take on them, and they did a great job for that. So then when they went to the depth, that's when the Panthers took over, like with our second and third line. And even one game, our fourth line had like 3 goals. So the depth definitely did Tampa in this series, and this might explain why, because they were all hurt.
Yeah, depth for sure. But also, I'm gonna take this moment to call out John Cooper. I've never seen so many questionable coaches' challenges.
Those
in a
were ridiculous.
Series. Especially by John Cooper, because he's not a stupid coach. He's held that position for as long as he has for a reason. He's tied for 10th now for postseason wins by a coach at 87 wins, I believe it was. And so those challenges just reeked of desperation, and it was sad to kind of watch. But, you know, I do think the better team won.
They were definitely desperate challenges. I mean, but what other option did he have? They were losing at that point, or maybe not in the first challenge, but they were not looking good in that game. And I mean, he had no other option. Like, he did what he needed to do, I think, but I also agree with you that they were incredibly questionable, and that I think that the right choice was made on each of them.
Yeah. And he also had a challenge in an earlier game. Brett, maybe you would remember.
I remember
but it was,
Maurice's challenges more.
It was goaltender interference, and wasn't even in the paint. It was just like, it was awful.
To tell you what, those goaltender interference things are always like, you're kind of like, yeah, I can see why they called it, or I can see why they didn't call it. You know, it's always very kind of, you're always kind of like raising your eyebrows about every single one. So
that's true.
Because there was one that they called on Bobrovsky, and eventually they decided it was goaltender interference, and I think they could have went completely the other way. The one where he kind of like he just gracefully like glanced his glove and that was it. And they're like, "Yep, that's goaltender interference." I'm like, I could have seen that going the other way.
Pete DeBoer did a radio interview sometime this season, and they asked him about goalie interference challenges. And he said those are the hardest challenges to make because if you asked all 32 head coaches in the NHL what their definition of goaltender interference is, you'd get 32 different answers. And it's true.
So before we move on too quick, I wanted to touch this. Matthew Tkachuk just said in a press conference, without this coming out too badly, I think we all knew it was probably going to be Boston the way this series was going. I think throughout the whole series, we were probably expecting they were going to come out and win it one way or another. So it's not just Sheldon Keefe who thought that the Leafs had to game plan that way. It's other teams thought that too. So that's great.
That makes it sound like the Panthers have pretty much only been planning for Boston. they didn't even worry about watching video for Toronto.
What do they say? The bigger the rise, the harder they fall, Brett. Let's go.
Boston definitely they've avoided a meme. They would have gotten memed so hard if they lost.
They would have been gotten memed, and then they would have had a new head coach.
You think so? You think Montgomery would have been gone? Really?
You can't go up 3-1 in 2 years in a row and lose. Especially when your goalies. Go ahead, Brett.
I was gonna say, I think Montgomery deserves a little bit more respect than that because you guys' player turnaround has been rough, right? And you've lost a lot of your veteran guys, and so I think he's done really well.
Bergeron and Krejci, and that's it. Your goalie's putting up a .950 save percentage. You can't lose 3 games in a row at the end of a 7-game series and expect to keep your job.
I don't know. You know how everyone is like before? It's the last 2 seasons. Everyone expecting Boston to take this big dip, right? And both times, one year they broke all the NHL records. They the greatest regular season of all time in the NHL history. And this past year, they nearly won the Atlantic Division. They were still really good. So, and obviously, I think Montgomery is a big part of that because people are looking at the roster thinking it's not going to do that, and then they're still able to rise above expectations, even with the playoff results.
Sheldon Keefe has had his job for the last 5 years and only got out of the playoffs once. I mean, yes, he's a good regular season coach. Don't get me wrong. He's ousted his demons by winning that first round matchup. I feel like if he didn't win that last night, it would have been a very, very bad breakup, kind of like it was with Bruce Cassidy. I feel like it wouldn't have been much warning, and it would have been undecided for a very long time, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, boom, it's done.
And then he's in Dallas again.
And I like Montgomery as a coach. I do. But,
do you think he's safe if you guys get out in this round?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay. So with that Game 7 victory, he's good. All right.
I think so, unless they completely crap the bed.
Well, like if it's a sweep, like I don't think that'll happen. But
it depends. Like, I went into the Toronto series saying the 2 most difficult things they're going to do is winning face-off and scoring. And look at all these games. For a while, Game 5 and 6, it felt like it was 90% Toronto, 10% Boston in the face-off dot, and they couldn't score more than 2 goals. Like, it was ridiculous. Game 6, they didn't have more than 2 shots on net in the first period. That's what I was worried about going into this. They have a good group of veterans. They just need that depth scoring to go, and it can. Like that third line last night with Frederick, JVR, and Brazeau was awesome. It's just if your big players don't come to play on this team, you're in trouble. And Florida is stacked. They're a 4-line team. They're a good team. I think the goalies are evenly matched at this point, and I think I would even give Boston the advantage. I don't mean to get too ahead with our predictions, but if Bobrovsky goes down, you're in trouble. If Swayman goes down, we got Ullmark.
That's what I was going to say too. I would agree with that. Do you think that they're going to go back to the tandem, or do you think they're riding Swayman until
they have to ride Swayman? Right?
I don't know. Because, you'd want to see Swayman get a rest once in a while. It is only a day off in between the 2 games, and it was overtime. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Ullmark gets in game 1 or 2, honestly. I almost would prefer it. It depends. If you take game 1, if the Bruins win game 1 in Florida, I would like to see Ullmark in that in game 2. give Swayman a little bit of a rest.
We're definitely getting into the prediction talk quite a bit here.
Oh.
You guys want to move
right.
on before, because we can
Yes.
talk more about
Yes,
Boston.
yes.
Florida
Let's move
for
on.
sure.
Let's move on.
So was there anything else we were going to talk about before the awards? When did you want to talk about
We can do that now.
ticket thing?
Yeah, we can do that now. So it was announced earlier this week, and I know that this is not the only team that has done it, but I'm going to talk crap on them anyway because I hate them. The Carolina Hurricanes are not allowing anybody from outside of a specific zip code. I think it's within North Carolina and then some spots in Virginia or whatever, to purchase tickets from Ticketmaster. So if you're outside of those areas, you are not allowed to go to the game or to purchase tickets for the game. And I know that Nashville's done this previously. I know that the Tampa Bay Lightning have done this previously.
Chicago.
I know that there are other teams as well. But what are your thoughts on this? I'm kind of a little frustrated about it. Not that I could even have the opportunity to go to a game down there, but my brother was looking into them, and he's the reason that I even brought this topic up, was because he was going to try to go down to North Carolina and see a game, but he wasn't allowed to buy tickets because he had that New York zip code. Do you guys think that that's fair, or do you guys think that that's a little ridiculous?
Well, so here's the thing. First off, it's just the purchasing of them through the direct purchase,
So not the
right?
resale.
So resale, you're gonna get screwed on price probably, but there are ways to get tickets.
Mhm.
As far as if it's fair, if that team, whatever team does it, really does sell out their arena and it's competitive to get tickets just within the area, I think it's reasonable because you want to give your fans the opportunity to go into the building that most likely their tax dollars went towards, and
True.
it's their team and all of that. I know Vegas also did that for this round, and buy them off of another site. As far as your brother, he's really saving himself because he'd have to go to North Carolina. So.
True.
I enjoyed my time in North Carolina. Just for the record, I will be the one to say that.
I just want to. This is the thing. I'm not sure why the Hurricanes would even be like. I don't know if it's a worry or what. The Hurricanes do very well attendance wise.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they feel like they have to restrict from getting a few New York fans in there. It's not like all of a sudden.
I don't think it would be a
don't
few.
restrict the sales. It's a sea of blue.
Well, but also
hold
Carolina,
on, Amanda has something. All right.
So, to your point, Brett, real fast. A city in North Carolina, Cary, has a very, very, and it's the joke that Cary is where all the New Yorkers come when they
thought that was
leave
Florida.
New York. No, that's when they get older. They're migrating
Okay.
down. They haven't quite hit Florida yet.
Sequence.
And I've been to multiple Canes Rangers games at the PNC Arena, and literally, I'm not exaggerating, it's about 50-50 Rangers Canes
I believe that.
because there is such a heavy Rangers fan population.
They're kind of everywhere though.
It's ridiculous. So as far as getting it's not that we'll get just a couple, it's that it's already a very split crowd at the PNC Arena.
Okay.
I think.
Well, and the other thing is, and I've talked to Nick, who just made his prediction in the chat. Which
He
we'll
said
get to
Rangers in
predictions
5.
But I've been going back and forth with Nick, who's been on the podcast before, about season ticket prices because I have them and he has them in Carolina, and they are expensive. They are more expensive there than they are here, and I think the demand for tickets for PNC Arena is crazy. So for me, it's not, we don't want blue jerseys in the crowd.
You're getting them anyway.
It's more so, do what?
They're getting them anyway.
Said you're getting them anyway.
Oh, yeah, you're going to get them anyways. But it's more so let's say Amanda wants to go to a game and she goes on Ticketmaster and boom, they're sold out. And then you look and it's a bunch of people who traveled from New York. Well, she lives there. She wants to go to the game. So that's why I support it. I'm okay with it.
I think
So,
another thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Gus.
Jesse.
No.
No, go. You. Okay. I was just going to say, you don't see that in Boston because you're not going to see another crowd overtake in Boston, where I wonder if Florida is going to do that because there's so many snowbirds down in Florida.
I think one of the things that
We have done it.
I think one of the things that benefits you and I, Cass, is the original
Well,
six
Six.
aspect. Because
Chicago's done it though. Chicago has done it.
well, I mean, there's a lot of people who that I mean, I've met a lot of people over here that liked the New York Rangers because they didn't have a team. I mean, obviously they may have migrated to Seattle fandom, but New York's going to be their team. Another thing is that New Yorkers just
I know
travel
someone
well.
like that.
I mean, there's a lot of people that like to go out of New York to go see games. I know when I was younger, we would go down to Philly, we would go to New Jersey and stuff like that. Obviously, they're a little bit closer, but there's a lot of people that I've met in my time over here in Washington, going up to Vancouver, where they're like, "Yeah, I'm doing the whole Eastern Canada or the whole Western Canada trip, and then we're gonna go down to California and see some things." And if that's just how it worked out, people like to travel for these games, so you get that aspect too.
Here's something else that I've seen happen, and this happened in the Tampa, Florida series, actually. If you were a Panthers fan and you went to Amalie Arena, they did not want you wearing red if you were going to sit in the stands.
I heard about that.
But like they didn't restrict the ticket sales, but they restricted your attire. What do you guys think is worse?
That's worse. That's worse.
So we got a little bit of news here. Matt is actually in the chat. And we
Wow.
believe that
Hey, Matt.
the guy who always says, "Oh yeah, this and that," and then he never listens to the podcast.
here.
Welcome, Matt.
Something I'll say also, like, okay, let's say Jesse lives in New York, Amanda lives in North Carolina. Jesse wants to go to a North Carolina game or a Canes game with the Rangers there. You have 4 of 7 possible games in New York City. Go to those 4 games, and then Amanda will get 3 possible games. The one
Yeah, Jesse, don't come down here.
She's buying tickets for me. She's using her
Jesse,
zip code.
Jesse, just stay where you are. Trust me. The one thing that it does hurt is like road trippers.
Mhm.
If I'm doing a nice little Pacific Coast road trip, and I'm stopping off in, well, none of those teams are in it anymore, but if I'm stopping off in Los Angeles in round 1 and I really want to go see a Kings game and I'm in town, my credit card or debit card is not linked to that zip code. But I'm more so just a tourist in the area with no dog in the fight that wants to attend a game.
You could probably go to the box
Do
office
something.
at that point, right?
Probably can pay in cash.
I wonder.
They don't even have those anymore. Like Gillette Stadium for the Patriots, they don't even have a box office. It's all remote, all email. So dumb.
Nick
The
saying
PNC, you can still go, but they still charge you like a convenience fee to get it from the box office.
that's
Keep
ridiculous.
the lights on.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
Nick saying the humorous thing with this all is the Canes are not the only team that does it. And yeah, we did mention that
Yeah.
Tampa Bay did it, Nashville did it,
Vegas.
Vegas has done it.
Florida did it last year in the Eastern Conference Final against Carolina. I
I
know
thi-
we did that
I think
because
the,
people were talking crap about us when that happened.
I think the more egregious thing is not allowing another team's
The color.
color to show up in the stands. That's
That's
kind of
bad.
ridiculous.
Or a sign on the glass. Boy,
sorry.
blew us off,
So
Ethan.
dumb.
I'll call him out. Oh,
He did. All right, it's whatever. Anyway, yeah. What are your thoughts on this? We'd love to hear from you in the chat, on the Twitter, whatever we're calling it, the X. We'd love to know what you think about that.
Let us know.
But yeah, definitely. We love when all you guys comment. As you can tell, we bring them up. So if you want to get a brief mention on the pod, all you gotta do is comment. That's all it takes.
Before we moved into the announcement of the NHL awards, the NHL draft lottery is this week. It's on Monday, May 7th. I'm sorry, Tuesday, May 7th, because today's Sunday. So in 2 days, they're going to be doing the NHL draft lottery. And I just wanted to do just something fun, the NHL draft lottery simulator. So looking at it right now, San Jose has the best odds for the number 1 overall pick at 25.5.
But do they?
However, we
Do they?
also know that Chicago is going to overtake them on Tuesday and get the number 1 overall pick for Macklin Celebrini. There's a couple other teams that have the opportunity to jump up: Anaheim, Columbus, Montreal, Arizona, or Utah, Ottawa, Seattle, Calgary, New Jersey, Buffalo. And then from there, there's the opportunity for teams to jump up 10 spaces. I don't know too much about how
Same
that
as
works. Yeah. But
That's so like you can't go from 16. So say you're the team that just missed out on the playoffs, like Pittsburgh or something.
Mhm.
You can't jump up to the number one overall
Right.
pick. The most you can do is 10.
Right, they could just do 10, which makes sense to me. So we're going to use a website to do the lottery simulator.
Ooh, are you going to pull it up on the stream, Jesse?
I could do that. Actually, it'll take me a second.
Well, Pittsburgh doesn't have a first round pick because they needed Eric Carlson. Just remember that.
Yeah, San
Oh, that's
Jose.
right.
But,
Whoever has Pittsburgh's pick then can't jump up.
Polling
10 spaces.
polling people here who's actually going to watch it on Tuesday.
I'll just look at the results.
I'll watch a little.
I'm gonna probably watch it. We
Last
usually do.
year, it's not PK Subban, sorry. Kevin Weeks. He
Wow,
spoiled. He
Anyway,
spoiled.
go ahead.
He spoiled the number 3 pick accidentally before
okay.
going to a commercial break. So, sorry.
It's okay, Brett. I've made the same mistake.
So are you gonna do do you just roll it? How does this work?
So yeah, I can't pull it up. It's going to take me a minute that I don't have time to do. But I'm going to.
That's okay.
All I do is press a button, and San Jose
Okay, don't tell
keeps
us.
it.
Don't tell it.
Ah.
I'm gonna do a.
Oh, I did.
He literally brought the bongo out.
So San Jose kept the number 1 overall spot, and then it looks like it didn't change at all. Everyone stays the same. So the odds of that
That'd be
happening
boring.
are probably very, very low.
I think that's happened one time since they started doing the 4-team lottery, and it's kind of like, people get mad if certain teams move up, but honestly, moving up is fun. That's the whole reason they do the lottery. Because if you just do the picks, that's what the NFL does. I think they still do it, right? I don't know if they stopped, but for a long time they were doing just records based
Yeah, that's what
picks
NFL
position.
does.
But that's boring.
That
Come
is
on.
boring. We all know that Chicago's going to get it anyway. So I mean, let's just at least make it
the
realistic.
new Edmonton.
At least make it
Just
realistic.
without Corey Perry.
So I was just looking at this and I'm looking and I'm like, it says Boston doesn't have a first round pick because it's Ottawa's, and I was like, what? I thought they had their first round pick this year. They don't have a first, a second, or a third this next coming draft. Oh my Lanta!
Tampa doesn't have a first, second, third, fourth. So they've
They
only got 5, 6.
Tanner Janot though, so
They did get Tanner Janot, yes.
Worth it.
All right. Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk draft stuff because
Next week, yeah.
yeah.
So let's move on. We saw over the course of this week the finalists come out for almost every award. The only 2 that we don't have is the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Memorial. We can talk about that a little bit more next week. But let's go over one by one each of the awards that got announced their finalists, starting with the James Norris Memorial Trophy. And that is the award that goes to the best overall defenseman. Although if we know better, it just really goes to the best offensive defenseman. That's the way they award it. And based on the nominees, they're going to stick with that because the 3 nominees, who are Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, and Roman Josi, those are the 3 highest scoring defensemen from this past season. With Quinn Hughes, he had 92, Cale Makar had 90, and Roman Josi had 85. So is it clear cut that it's Quinn Hughes? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
100%.
think it's got to be Quinn Hughes because he also he reflects the defensive side a little bit more than the other 2.
As far as plus minus, which doesn't always tell the full story of how good a defender is. Out of those 3, Quinn Hughes has by far the highest with a plus 38. Cale Makar had a plus 15. Roman Josi had a plus 12, which might be a little impressive considering they were kind of like a middling team and he had a plus 12. But yeah, Quinn Hughes blows it out of the water with that plus 38.
It's nice to see Roman Josi in there getting recognition, but this is definitely Quinn Hughes' award. There's no doubt in my mind that any of the other 2 are going to get it. Cale Makar deserves it, but it's Quinn Hughes.
Does
I
anyone
feel like
have-
nowadays it's not so much of like who deserves it as who hasn't gotten it.
Which is nonsense.
Back in the day, you used to see Bobby Orr and Nick Lidstrom get however many in a row, and now it's like, Victor Hedman needs one, and Roman Josi needs one, kind of like the Vezina. Murray hasn't got one yet. We'll give him one. It's not really like who's the best of the best.
People are saying
I
that's
feel-
why McKinnon's going to win the Hart this year. That's the argument there. It's because McKinnon hasn't won one, even though
Which we'll discuss next week.
Yeah, we'll discuss that next week. So does anyone not have Quinn Hughes as their
No.
Norris pick?
I got Quinny.
Quinn.
Sounds Amanda, you're Quinn too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll move
Only
on.
because Slavin was shunned again,
Come on,
Yawn.
y'all.
begrudgingly.
Come on.
You said Slavin, right?
Slavin?
Slavin, sorry. Yeah, if they ever do my thing where they do the Bobby Orr award that goes to the best offensive defenseman, the Norris can go to the best defensive defenseman, but
Be amazing
haven't-
if someone
we
won
haven't
both of those awards.
The NHL hasn't gotten back to us about that proposition.
No.
Actually, they told us to go to hell. Sorry, I didn't let you guys know about that. They told me to go F
wow,
myself.
unbelievable.
Ah, dang it.
So next we have this is another one that seems pretty clear cut, which is why they probably announced these two first. The Calder Memorial Trophy, which goes to the best rookie in the NHL. Pulling up the stats, Connor Bedard led all rookies with 22 goals, 39 assists for a total of. This doesn't showing me the points for whatever reason. Why is it not showing me the points?
What's the goals and assists?
Sorry, I got it. 61. Found it.
Oh.
61 points, but he led them all rookies in both goals, assists, points, all of it. And the other two nominees were two defensemen, which is pretty cool. Brock Faber of the Minnesota Wild and Luke Hughes of the New Jersey Devils. They both played a full 82-game season. They each finished with 47 points. Luke Hughes finished with a minus 25, and Brock Faber only a minus 1, if the plus-minus matters at all. But pretty cool that those two defensemen got recognition here for clearly their offensive output. And believe it or not, 47, that is second and third for most points for rookies. Logan Cooley was fourth with 44. So it's just the three highest point scorers. But it feels like definitely Connor Bedard. I mean, 61 points in 68
Without
games.
a doubt.
They didn't
Like-
need to put the other two faces up there. I mean, it's
Really-
great for them. You got nominated. That's cool. But
Yeah, the
neither of them think it's actually them.
only thing that I learned from them putting Luke Hughes up there is that he looks less robotic than his brother Quinn Hughes does. The only thing I learned from that.
I was wondering who you're going to call robotic, if it was going to be Jack or Quinn.
No, it's definitely Quinn. Dude is
Has
a
anyone-
robot. I'm convinced.
Has anyone seen the show Succession?
No.
HBO show? Ah, dang. There's a brother. Anyone, if you've ever seen Succession, it's about a family. There's a brother played by Kieran Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's brother. And Quinn Hughes looks like his character. Very just like wired, but also robotic. But I don't know. It's
You're gonna have to
a
send
weird,
me that.
weird look. Yeah, I'll send you.
Yeah, this is 100% Connor Bedard's award, and
Yep.
they're not. The
Connor
NHL's
Bedard.
not gonna give it to anybody that's not Connor Bedard. I mean, the
Right,
amount
they
of
want to give it to him.
the way that he's been pushed, the way that he's been shown in the media, the way that he's talked about. There's no doubt in my mind that this is going to anyone else but Connor Bedard.
I mean, nearly a point per game player too. So it's not like he didn't do
Deservedly,
anything.
it's deserved.
He deserved it.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, even if he didn't, it wouldn't be anyone else.
Any other Brock Faber would have more of a shot though, which kind of sucks because he came over
Came out of
in the
nowhere.
Fiala
Really.
trade. He came over in the Fiala trade from LA, and he was a highly touted prospect, but he blew up way more than they thought he would. So Minnesota, even though you have $15 million doing basically nothing, helping Ethan's favorite player, their future is bright for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Next year. Put it on the record now. Logan Stanker.
You guys, if the
Next
Bruins
year.
don't win, Dallas better win because I didn't realize it, and I just looked. I had a future on Dallas winning the Stanley Cup. So
for Cass.
yeah,
So this next award, I know we're going to have at least one person who says something different, because it'll be me. But we have the Vezina Trophy, which goes to the best goaltender. The Jennings is also an award that gets awarded, but that's a statistical award. It went to Connor Hellebuyck for having the least amount of goals scored against during the course of their season.
it's
But
both Connor Hellebuck and Lauren Broussard.
I don't
the
think
tandem.
so. I think it just went to Hellebuyck. I don't think the backup played enough games to get awarded it.
Okay,
I at least That's what I saw. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing that only Hellebuck was getting it. But yeah, it normally does go to a tandem. Like last year, Swayman and Allmark won it together because they both played enough
I
games.
mean, they split
Yeah.
pretty even.
50-50. It goes. It's basically almost like a team award because it's whichever team allows the least amount of goals. But if only one goaltender played, I think it's 30 games. I think
25.
Is it 25? Okay. So if Brassard played 25 games, then he has also won it. But anyways, Vesda's given up to a vote to say who is the best goaltender. We have
In
I
the
think these were-
regular season.
in the regular
regular
season. Yes.
season.
All these awards are regular season. If you hear anyone saying that the playoffs matter for these awards, they don't. Only the Conn Smythe matters for the playoffs. But we have the right three nominees, in my opinion, here. Sergei Bobrovsky of the Florida Panthers, Thatcher Demko of the Vancouver Canucks, and, like we just mentioned, Connor Hellebuck of the Winnipeg Jets. I have the goalie stats.
Now, we've talked about how the voting works, and I don't know if
Here
we
he
figured
goes.
this part out. But okay, we all know playoffs don't matter. They've announced the finalist. Do they already know the winner and they're just telling the top 3?
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, all the voting is
okay.
all done.
Voting
already,
is
yeah.
done.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, here's some statistics that obviously influence the voters. So it's worth talking about. For wins, Connor Hellebuck did not have the most wins in the season. That actually went to Georgiev, who had 38, but his save percentage was below 9. His goals against average was above 3, so not a finalist, and I think that's the right call. And then Sergei Bobrovsky was third in the league with 36. And then Thatcher Demko, 6th with 35. Only one less than Bobrovsky, but he was tied with 3 other goaltenders. I'm sorry, if you're already getting a sore throat, so now all of a sudden it's acting up. Sorry about that. So Connor Hellebuck had the best save percentage of all these 3 goalies with a 921. Bobrovsky had a 915. Demko a 917. Then goals against average, Bobrovsky actually had the best out of all of them with a 237. Hellebuck with a 239. Demko with a 245. So based on the statistics and the fact that they played a couple more games, I think it's clearly going to be Hellebuck or Bobrovsky. A lot of people want to say it's clear-cut Hellebuck, but given the stats, Bobrovsky has a great case to win his 3rd Vezina, his first with Florida potentially.
He's also the first player in the graphic, which seems to line up with everything we've thought so far.
I mean, Hughes is first in the graphic, Bedard is first in the graphic.
That's very
I hope
true.
Never know.
That
Or
would
maybe
be-
this is the one they were like, no, we're going to switch it up because everyone knows the first. No. I believe it's alphabetical.
But anyways, do you guys see any reason for Bobrovsky to get over Hellebuck? Because I think most of you guys are probably picking Hellebuck.
I'm using my current hindsight of the playoffs to, I would say, yeah, Bobrovsky seems to be the better goalie, but it's going to be Hellebuck in my opinion. Like it's just, and it.
I agree.
I don't like it.
I don't think it's going to go to anybody else. And I'm going to stick with what I said in the beginning, where I did say that it was going to be well, I thought it was going to be Demko, and then he got injured, so I do think it's going to be Hellebuck. But Bobrovsky definitely has a case for it. I mean, he's been stellar all season, very impressive considering what has happened in previous years, not last year, but in previous years with him. But I think it's going to go to Hellebuck.
His play this year, it relieved a lot of Florida fan stress, I feel like, with Spencer Knight not playing in the NHL, being down in the AHL. Obviously, the hero Alex Lyon is now on the Detroit Red Wings, so they needed Bobrovsky to step up big this year, and he did. All credit to him, but it's Hellebuck's award this year.
Now, I will
100%.
say, I wouldn't be shocked, like, if they announced Bobrovsky won it. I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. I wouldn't be like, no way, Hellebuck got robbed.
Right.
See, like, if they actually had a comeback player of the year, not the Masterson or something like that, like a comeback player of the year, he would be in my top 3. You know what I mean? Because
Sure.
he struggled a lot last year and maybe even the year before. And
Basically, most of his years as a Panther.
people were complaining the $10 million. So I think he's definitely had a comeback this year for sure. But I still think it's Hellebuck. Amanda, what's your pick?
Buck.
Hellebuck.
Yeah.
If anyone got robbed, it's Winnipeg Jets fans. Like, let's be real.
One thing you guys didn't bring up that I thought you would have that goes against Bobrovsky, and I'm aware of it, is that Stolarz has like some of the best goals against average and save percentage out of all goaltenders, but obviously much less games played because he was a backup. And that kind of benefits Hellbuck saying, look, it wasn't so much Bobrovsky, it was that the Panthers have a good defense. And that's the one thing that's working against Bobrovsky, even though his numbers are about the same, a little bit better in some places than Hellbuck. Hellbuck was clearly a big help to Winnipeg versus Florida just having a good defensive team.
We all knew that. We just wanted to hear you say that. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'm still going to just bring my bias. I'm picking Bobrovsky. It would feel wrong not to
Yeah.
be honest.
I would expect nothing less. I would do the same.
So let's move on to the one that's a little bit more. It's a kind of a unique award, but a cool award. The Bill Masterson Trophy. I'm going to read out what this is awarded for because it's not as obvious as the other ones. The Bill Masterson Memorial Trophy is awarded annually to the National Hockey League player who best exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to ice hockey. And the three nominees, two of them are goaltenders. We have Frederick Anderson of the Carolina Hurricanes. I know he was dealing with blood clots and types of injuries. He ended up being able to play and played really well. Still is playing really well. Then we have Connor Ingram, who was goaltender for the Arizona Coyotes. I'm not sure what adversity he. Typically, they like to give players who face some kind of adversity and then played. So hopefully, one of you guys know maybe a little bit more why Ingram is included on this. And then Oliver Shillington of the Calgary Flames.
Killington.
It looks like Killington, but I always hear it pronounced Shillington for
Okay.
whatever reason. I'm not sure why that it's the but I know I've heard it.
Okay.
But
Ingram, he was 2 years ago. Wasn't he like a backup back? Like he was
It was in Nashville, correct?
he was poopy on ice, and then came back, and I mean he played really well for Arizona, but Utah.
sure.
So I think that's why he's on the list. I think.
But that feels like that's Cass's award that he the comeback player of the year type thing.
Well, he wasn't just poopy. He went into the NHLPA for, I believe, substance abuse
that's
issues. If I'm not
Right.
mistaken.
I forgot
I think
about
that's why
that's a
he's on
big
the
thing.
list.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I also, that's why he is my winner of this award.
Mm.
He was the one for obsessive compulsive disorder and depression.
right. Yes.
oh, I thought that was a
Spencer
Florida
Knight was
Panther.
also dealt with
It
it.
was
but
Spencer
not-
Knight as
Oh.
well.
Oh, okay.
Who do you think this is going to?
Given that, I mean, I can see Ingram winning it, but Anderson's the bigger name. He overcame health issues, obviously. And I'm not sure what Shillington. I'm obviously he's there
He's-
for a reason.
He's been away since the 2021-22 season.
Oh wow. Okay.
He was away because he was addressing mental health issues, and he has, in my opinion, out of the three of these gentlemen who have done a significant amount to get to where they are after the issues that they've dealt with, he has done a lot to get back on the ice. I think that it's going to go to him personally. Not to say that the other two aren't deserved of it; they definitely do. But the way that he was talking about his mental health, he's been gone for 2 years. I think it's going to go.
2 years is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Given that information, because I didn't have it all. Given the information I've gotten just from you guys, which thank for that. I think you're right, Jesse. I think it goes to Shillington.
Brian in our chat says it's going to go to. It has to be Freddie.
Has to be.
Freddie's
Amanda's shaking her head yes, so I'm going to write her down for Anderson.
Freddie's persevered through a lot as well. I mean, he had those blood clot issues that kept him off the ice for a while, but I think that Shillington just has had such a long trek to get back to the NHL. With the Calgary Flames, I think that it's his. I think that he's a shoo-in for it.
So, Ethan, who are you picking to win this award?
Oh man,
This is one
one's-
that's not as obvious for sure.
I'm gonna go Ingram
Okay.
for one reason. I was about to go Shillington like you two, because of the story, but then I looked at games played, and Anderson played 16 games. So I think he's third in voting. And then Shillington played 33 games as a defenseman. Okay. So I have him at second. And then Ingram actually played
played a full
55
year, right?
games as goalie. And it was kind of like a tandem. So not only, I think he even started the season as a backup and became kind of a starter / a 1A, 1B guy. And so when it comes to like on ice, I think he's come back furthest and has, rewritten his story a little bit more.
What about you, Cass? Who do you think?
He's picked Ingram, I think. I remember him
I'm
saying.
on the
yeah,
Ingram
I'm-
train. Yeah. He obviously, like Ethan just said, he kind of took over for Melko over there. And for a while, Arizona was in the playoff picture early on in the season. It was because of Ingram's play.
Yeah.
Was in the beginning of the season, the two goalies that you didn't expect to do very well were Connor Ingram and Charlie Lindgren. They were both right there, neck and neck, in the beginning of the season. Obviously, Arizona, Utah, whatever you want to call them, tapered off. But they were right up there for a while.
Amanda, you're sticking with
And-
Freddie?
Amanda's definitely picking Freddie. It would just like me picking Bob. You got to pick Freddie.
I think I have been very critical of Freddie.
You and every other Carolina Hurricanes fan.
And Toronto Leafs.
I- Right. I have affectionately called him Band-Aid Freddy, just with all the injuries he seems to acquire. However, since he's come back from this blood clot issue,
Lights out.
right, excluding playoffs, since that's not what, because holy cow, he's been amazing. Excluding playoffs, he came back, and I think out of all the games he started, he lost one, if I remember correctly. And that was more the team in front of him than it was necessarily him. Like, he has played amazing, lights out. You're like, where was this goalie
On the IR.
previously? True. So yeah, my vote has to be for Freddie to be out 50 games and to come back and play like this is incredible to me.
Yeah.
Brian agrees with you in our chat. I'm a Bruins fan, but the injuries he's had and the seriousness of the blood clots, and then coming back and winning his last 9 regular season games, he's going to also give it to Freddie Anderson.
Well, Brian's my favorite Bruins fan ever.
Ooh.
We mute
Ah.
her. It's okay. Go Rangers. Suck it. 4
You can
games,
tell that
Rangers
hurt-
win,
that
but
hurt.
it's not a sweep.
Okay.
Hold on. Just take it off. There's a Rangers jersey underneath. All right. What's next? Jack Adams, baby. Let's
Jack
go.
Adams, yes. Obviously, this one
Kids
maybe not
awake. We need
obviously
a-
to everyone, but Jack Adams goes to the best head coach in the NHL. We have 3 very deserving candidates here: Rick Bowness of the Winnipeg Jets, Andrew Brunette of the Nashville Predators, and Rick Tocchet of the Vancouver Canucks. Rick Tocchet took over a Vancouver Canucks team that missed the playoffs last year, led them to the Pacific Division title, and even though the playoffs don't count, he did lead them past the first round, so that's something. The Andrew Brunette took a team, also missed the playoffs, and had very little expectations, like very low expectations. They went on a crazy hot streak, won a lot of games in a row, ended up making the playoffs, which they weren't expected to do. And then finally, Rick Bowness. He's been the Winnipeg Jets coach for quite a while, but again, another team that really didn't have a lot of expectations, ended up being the 4th best team in the league. 52 wins, which was tied for second most in the regular season. So all pretty 3 deserving coaches. I have my pick, and I think most of us are going to pick this guy, Rick Tocchet, as the winner of Jack Adams.
I would
I
agree.
agree.
Go ahead, Cass.
You both said it at the same time.
Yeah, like insane.
Well, before I go into this, I just want to say one thing. Like, I'm tuned into the Rangers Canes broadcast. These people that do these games, these announcers, God bless them.
Yeah.
This MFer was in Boston last night at 10:30 or whatever time that game was over, and now he's calling the
Back.
Rangers game today. God bless these people. Okay, getting back to the coaching thing. Winnipeg was supposed to be a decent team. They are a decent team. Brunette, while he coached very well, it was Trotz not allowing them to go say U2 or Bon Jovi or whoever the hell it was. Rick Tocchet has been that guy since day one. He will win it, and I will win that future ticket that I put in halfway through the season. Thank you very much.
Nice job, Cat.
I'm gonna go with Rick
Oh, what?
Tocchet. Rick
I
Bonus.
thought for sure you're gonna go bonus.
Rick Bonus started this campaign by saying his team sucked. And how I mean, I wish Rick Bonus would win it because from what I hear, he's on a hot seat. And that'd just be hysterical. Like Rick Bonus wins the award and then is fired. It's like what?
I wonder if
So
that's ever happened
that'd be funny.
before. So are you picking bonus?
No, Rick Tocchet.
Oh, okay.
Anna, who do you have?
I
You
get
say me?
I
Sorry.
me.
You're picking top.
I know. I'm sorry. Brett and Amanda sound a lot the same when I talk.
Very, very
It's
close.
that Boston
What
accent.
it is.
A Boston accent.
Very close. I'm gonna go with Tocchet as well. I mean, out of the three that are named, Brunette could come close. I think Bonus. I mean, he did well, but I think that Tocchet's just been lights out since the beginning of the season, since coming in as a replacement for short little bald man. Why can't I remember his name? Anyway, yeah, Rick Tocchet's got it, hands down.
Yeah, just to come in and with like the Vancouver had almost the same roster going into the year. Like there wasn't a big turnaround. There was still the same stars leading the team: JT Miller, Elias Peterson, Quinn Hughes, Brock Besser. So he took a team about the same roster that missed the playoffs last season and took them. They were in the President's Trophy race for most of the year.
Yeah.
And they ended up still winning the Pacific Division. So it would be shocking if it went to anyone else.
I mean, it came down to the last two games for the West #1 seed.
Yeah.
They were in that race too.
Moving on. Hopefully Cass comes back before we finish talking about this one, because this is everyone's favorite award, really, for the NHL, the Lady Byng Memorial Trophy. The Lady Byng Memorial Trophy is presented each year to the NHL's. Sorry, I worded that weird. Is presented each year to the National Hockey League, the player adjudged to have exhibited the best type of sportsmanship and gentlemanly conduct combined with a high standard of playing ability. And
Waste of time.
our three
I
nominees-
have. Oh, never mind.
Our three nominees are Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Elias Peterson of the Vancouver Canucks, and Jacob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Slavin.
Jacob Slavin of the Carolina Hurricanes. And with this award, I typically look at the penalty minutes versus games played and even at their average time on ice. And I'm going to go first talk about the guy who should win this award, whose name I can't pronounce right, apparently, Jacob Slavin. So he played 81 games for the Hurricanes, averaging 20 minutes of ice time, and he only took 8 penalty minutes all year. I mean, he's a top-line defender. Only taking 8 penalty minutes is insane. Then you've got Austin Matthews. He also played 81 games, obviously had 69 goals, and, part of the award talks about, a high standard of playing ability, so maybe that had something to do with it. But he did have 20 penalty minutes, which obviously that's not a lot, very low. Compared to Slavin, though, it seems like Slavin seems like a lot. Then finally,
Got it
we
right
have
the first
Elias.
time.
Here's the This is the only time that you'll ever in public say slaving, slavin. Any other time, you're probably going to get in trouble. So slavin.
Slavin.
That's how you remember it.
Slavin.
Only how you remember it, Ethan.
So Vancouver, and
Texas.
finally Elias Pettersson. He's the only one who played 82 games. He's only one more, and he finished with only 12 penalty minutes on the year, averaged 19 minutes on ice as the number one center for Vancouver. 12 penalty minutes, obviously very low. So, but I feel like I'm not. It's the Carolina Hurricanes defenseman. I'm just gonna be avoiding to saying his name the rest of the episode.
I personally don't give a crap who wins this one, so sure.
You need to choose one, Jesse.
He said the Carolina Hurricanes guy.
No, give
Oh,
give it to Pedersen. Give it to Pedersen.
Okay.
That's who I'll go for. Who cares about this one? I just don't get it.
I liked when Barkov won it. I was like, woo, because the Panthers rarely win awards. So when Barkov won it, I thought that was cool.
Give it to Pedersen. That's where I'm at.
Any other opinions on that? Well,
I'll take
everyone gets
Slavin.
their pick.
Eliminate the
Mathis
award.
Slavin. I've got Austin Matthews.
Oh, if he wins it, it'll be gross.
And then he gets fired too. No, just kidding. I have Jacob Slavin. As much as it hurts to say, for me it's harder for a defenseman to defend without taking a penalty, if that makes more sense.
Yeah.
They usually don't have the puck on their stick as much. So a lot of their time on ice is spent trying to get the puck away without slashing, without hooking, without tripping. It's more difficult for them. So I have Slavin.
Yeah, I mean, if you've played any NHL game, when you press triangle or Y, you're typically taking R1. You're typically taking a penalty. You know, so that's a good point, Cass.
He's got 99 discipline in NHL. At least he should. If he doesn't, I wonder who Amanda's
will
picking
adjust
for
it.
this one.
You said Austin Matthews.
That's what
Yeah,
I
that
heard.
sounds
This is a really hard decision for me. I don't
Moving
know
on
how
to the
I'm going
Selkie.
choose. Rude, Cass. It's what I would expect from a Boston fan. Who's not my
Welcome.
favorite.
Your least
named
favorite,
Brian.
apparently. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Brian? Did it, not me.
Obviously, shh. I'm talking. Obviously, it's Slavin.
Slavin.
Slavin. Thank you very much. And there's always the running joke within the Canes fans of like the few times that he does get penalized each year, where everyone's just like, what? He deserves it. 6 goals. I think 28 assists. For defenseman,
Amanda, has
only
he-
take that few.
Has he won it yet?
Yes. This
Yeah.
if he were to win it, this would be the second time. He won it in 2020-21 season and then was a runner up the following year as well.
Does that mean he gets
So,
paid more?
Probably not.
He should.
Is
He
gonna
won
be
an
on the Canes
award.
next year?
I agree. I think we should just rename it the Jacob Slavin Award at this point.
Is he
Slavin.
going to be a Hurricane player next year?
Yes.
You know, anyone watching, you have learned at least one thing. Because I guarantee you, anyone watching this, they will walk away knowing how to pronounce his name. Jacob Slavin. All right. Moving on. We spent way too much time on that.
Oh,
award.
whoa. we got the Patrice Bergeron Award.
No, I said
Oh,
move on to the
oh.
next award.
That's
Oh,
what.
okay.
Yeah. We have the Frank J. Selke Trophy.
Patrice Bergeron.
3 nominees. This one goes to the forward that best exemplifies the defensive abilities on the ice. So typically, you say this is your best two-way player in the NHL. The nominees are Alexander Barkov, who has won it once before in his career, Austin Matthews again, and then Jordan Stahl of the Hurricanes. So here's some interesting statistics with Austin Matthews and why he's here. Because when you think Austin Matthews, you definitely don't think defensive player, but he was second in the NHL with forwards for takeaways with 85, and also for forward block shots, he was, come on, load here, third, actually second, tied for second with 93. So he had the second most blocked shots for all forwards and the second most takeaways. So statistically, Austin Matthews is there. I trying to scroll down. Barkov is 21st for takeaways, tied for 20th
Oof.
actually. He did play only 73 games, so he missed 9 there. So his takeaway per 60 is higher, but overall he's down there at 20th for takeaways. Barkov also did a little bit more hitting than he typically does, with 50 hits, and that's not a ton. Sorry, hold on, I was looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, he had 104 hits, which is a lot for Barkov. He's normally not a guy who hits. He hit a lot this year. He has more than Austin Matthews. I'm really not seeing Jordan Stahl in the. I'm sure he's up here somewhere, but I'm just scrolling through a list and I'm not seeing Jordan Stahl with these. Typically, the statistics you look for the defensive forward, which is takeaways, block shots, hits. Austin Matthews has more block shots and takeaways than both of them. Barkov has more hits than all of them. Jordan Stahl has the least of all these statistically, but he's a great defensive player. The stats just aren't showing it. But I think I would pick Barkov because he's the player, but I wouldn't be shocked if they gave it to Matthews if they're basing it off the stats.
Which is what they should be. Giving the stats that you just gave to us, which surprised me. I was unaware of that. I was initially going to say Barkov, but I'm going to have to go with Matthews on that one. I mean, that's pretty impressive for somebody who's also scoring 69 goals. Like, that's just insane.
Yeah, I'm going Austin Matthews. And same. I was actually prepared to say Barkov until you read the stats, and I was like, oh, okay.
I should have kept them away. No, there's a reason he was there. That's what I was trying to say, because most people are like, why the heck is he there? Well, if you look at the stats, it makes sense. If you want to know who was first in those stats, Evgeny Malkin had the most takeaways this year with 90. And this was an obvious name right here. Most block shots.
Oh, Jesse.
Ryan Poling.
I can't even watch it.
Oh, sorry.
Ryan Poling led all forwards with most block shots for Pittsburgh. Such a random name there.
Cass, who you got?
I actually have Jordan Stahl.
Interesting.
I can't give it to Austin Matthews because he's Austin Matthews. Alexander Barkov would have 2, which would mean he's still far away from Patrice Bergeron, but I still don't want to give it to him. So I actually chose Patrice Bergeron, but he wasn't on this list, so I have to go with
so
Jordan
many
Stahl.
freaking people comment that on this.
I don't know.
list.
I don't know if you saw, actually, Patrice Bergeron got 4th, even though he hasn't played.
Well, it's like one of those things, like you talk about the James Norris being renamed to the Bobby Orr. This is one I would like totally.
You add it. It's
Okay, either way. This is the one award I would say you have to change the person's name on. You know what I mean?
I don't think they do that right away, Cass, though. I think they'd be like,
It
maybe
should be.
After he dies.
after he's in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, the guy was waving the
he
flag,
dies.
waving the banner yesterday for Game 7 for the Bruins. He looked pumped. He was ready to go. So,
Did you see
Suck it,
Ethan's meme?
So you're only
Yeah.
picking
Screw him.
You're only picking Jordan Stahl out of not wanting to pick the other two. If I'm
not
hearing
wanting
that.
to pick the other two. He's older, so I want to see him get it before he eventually dies and retires.
So
and,
you're part of the problem.
See, yeah, probably a lot of
what
people
else
vote
is
like
new?
that
I'm a fat white guy in middle age. What do you expect?
in Boston.
In Boston.
Slavin
Like
just
you're
Washington
scored.
Harvard
talking about
Yard.
how a lot of guys just give out awards because they haven't won it yet, and here you are saying, well, Stahl hasn't won it yet.
Hey, you swayed 2 of the votes from your guy, Austin Matthews. You're part of the problem. Anyway, Amanda, who do you have?
I put her down for a player already, but if she wants to go with someone differently, that's fine.
Actually, I'd go with Austin Matthews.
Yeah, Amanda.
As much as I love my Canes, who by the way just tied it up with the Rangers. Woo.
But on a goal
Yes,
by
they did.
Jacob Slavin.
Slavin.
Excellent.
I'm going to be
nice little
afraid to ever
victory.
say this dude's name on the podcast again.
Hey, you know that guy that skates next to Brent Burns?
I'll just
That
call him
guy.
Jacob. You still say
That's-
Jacob, right? He's got the 2 C's, so I wonder
Yes,
if
it
that
is
pronounced
still it is still just Jacob.
Jack Cobb.
As much as I am a Canes fan through and through, I am also a realist, and I don't think Stahl has played that well this year. I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised if this is his final year. His contract's up anyways.
I thought he signed a 4-year extension or something crazy like that. What am I
Mm.
remembering?
That was Eric
Pretty-
Stahl. I'm just
No, it
kidding.
can't be. No, I'm pretty
It was
sure
Mark
Mark Stahl
Stahl.
signed a multi-year extension. Amanda, you can. I mean, you're a fact checker. Let's fact check.
Garrett Stahl, the fourth brother.
I am fact checking myself. Hold on.
While she does that, look at those three guys' faces. Those are all such punchable faces.
Barkov's got the most punchable, I think, which is ironic considering that Cousins got the most punchable face by the NHL players.
I don't get why.
Talk
you guys
about
say
that eventually. 'Cause he's Barkov.
I think Stahl maybe has the. He just looks like a.
Look at that mustache and tell me Poppy just doesn't. We
That-
just don't want to have a slap war with that guy.
Stahl looks like
Power
like
slaps, Jesse.
like he's ready to play Barney in the new Flintstones movie or something.
Oh, I was thinking you were thinking Barney the dinosaur, and I'm like,
No.
what are you going?
Yeah, paint him purple and watch what happens. All right.
Amanda, before this,
When you
this
find out
conversation
how
goes
many-
off
how
the
long his
rails.
contract is,
Yeah, to bring this back, Brett, you were right. I missed that. Life's a little chaotic, but you were right.
I just remember us talking about this on the pod and us being confused why it was a multi-year extension.
It's 2.9 each year through the 2026-2027
Yeah, so
season, which is very
That's 4 years,
surprising to
right?
me. Yeah. Yeah, 4 years. Very surprising to me. He still would not be my choice and is not my choice for this one.
Brian in our chat says he thinks it's going to be Barkov. So there you go, Brett. You
hope
got
so.
a vote back
If
from
I
us.
didn't tell you guys the stats, you guys would have picked Barkov.
Yeah, well, thanks for
See,
telling
Brian.
us the truth.
Now, if
Mine
you
is
go
trying
I
to
per,
would
be
probably just
everyone's favorite
refuse
Bruins
Austin
fan.
Matthews.
if you go per 60 though, Matthews is
Go to
still
Stahl.
first, but not as close. I mean, it's closer. I'm sorry. If you go per 60, it's closer.
I'm sticking
Just
with the
because he
pity
missed
vote.
those 9 games.
All right, should we do some round 2 projections?
Please, because my daughter's crying in her bedroom right now. So
Parenting
First one,
101.
what we
Just
gonna
let
do?
him let him cry it out.
Laura was supposed to be home at around 12:30, and she's 4 hours late. Anyway, love you, baby. Okay, we're gonna go into the Rangers versus Carolina Hurricanes. The New York Rangers had a 2-1-0 record against the Hurricanes this season, but they won 2-1. They won 1-0, and they got smoked 6-1 against the Hurricanes. Hurricanes obviously added Gensel. They are obviously added Kuznetsov, and the Rangers.
And
yeah,
Freddie
the
Anderson,
Rangers.
essentially.
Yeah, and Freddie Anderson. And the Rangers got who? Wenberg? Nice.
And Roslovic.
There you go. Sick. We're going to start with Amanda. Who in how many games?
This is honestly my favorite matchup that's come out of the playoffs. I think it's going to be an amazing series. I say 7 games with the Canes winning.
Brett.
Was there just a bunch of silence for 5 seconds?
Like 3 seconds.
I paused for a second. I was waiting for
sorry.
Cass to
High
say,
pitched silence.
Say my name.
I thought
Whew.
I thought I heard someone say Amanda to talk, but I guess she didn't want to.
Oh no, she did talk.
I'm messing with you.
Oh, sorry. I'm
This is how it's going to
multitasking.
be, Jesse.
Anyway, Brett, go ahead.
This is a tough one to call, honestly. It's one of those ones you can definitely see going either way. I have no issues with you, Amanda, but I'd prefer to see New York go through. So it's not anything like that. So I'm gonna say New York in
sure.
7.
Ethan.
I'm gonna go
Keep in mind, Ethan, you had the worst record in round 1.
rain. Boy, I almost made a crazy pick with the Leafs though. Rangers in 6.
Almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, right?
Me, my turn. Me. Rangers in
That's your
5.
turn.
Rangers in 5.
I keep on taking off my headphones so I don't hear any upstairs. I was trying to time that. Hopefully, Jesse would spit out his coffee. I,
Yeah, this is a hard one. Like for
I'm gonna go
neutrals,
Carolina in
hard one.
6.
Thanks,
I
Ethan.
don't know
My
why.
own,
Now,
Ethan and
almost
Brett.
favorite Boston fan.
Well, your favorite Boston fan also has Carolina in 6. So there you go.
Well, that's why I said you're almost my favorite because Brian is still my favorite.
Yeah.
It's
I get it.
It's pretty
Yeah.
bizarre. Cass's mic just shut off out of nowhere. I don't know what happened there.
I know it's crazy. But
Cass,
now we're
hello?
gonna talk about the.
Cass, can
Hi.
you hear me? Cass, hello,
Again,
are you there?
Can you hear me? Hello.
He must have just
Well,
disconnected.
Cass is gonna think you're being serious.
I know he's not being serious. I can see the smoke coming out of his head trying to think of a new joke, but it doesn't work, so he has to keep on using the old one. Anyway, we're going to move on to the best series in round 2. Boston versus Florida. It was a very close season series. Boston swept the floor 4-0 against the Florida Panthers in the season series, winning 3-2, 3-1, 4-3, and 3-2. They were all
Two
close
of them were in
games.
overtime.
Okay, great. Congratulations. You get an extra point.
I'm
still
just saying
lost.
they were close. We didn't lose
Overtime
14.
points don't matter in
Right.
the playoffs, Brett. Here come the excuses already. Oh, while we're talking about this, we have to come up with a friendly bet, Brett, because we have to do something. It doesn't have to be monetary, but we have to come up with something. So think about that. We'll get back to it at the end of the episode. Amanda, who do you have for this one, and why do I not like it?
I'm posting to our Twitter as well, trying to live tweet the game.
Thank you. Go, Amanda.
I forgot about it for a second. I am going to be optimistic and say Boston in 6
Why optimistic? Was
because I'm
Oh,
going.
you don't
I'm going
like
for
Florida.
the underdog. I'm going for the under. Hold on one second.
She is fall. Oh, okay.
No.
How's
I
that?
forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. She has
Moving on, Ethan.
only us here in the podcast can see she has a Panthers jacket.
Is that a starter jacket?
It's a pro layer one, like
Knock off.
That's pretty badass.
So when you
though.
say optimistic, you're just mean for the underdog. I'm like,
exactly.
what the heck?
I'm
I
going
thought
for the underdog. But yes,
Brett,
I
how
will
many
also still
games-
be wearing.
Jeez.
I like it.
Go ahead, Brett.
So I've seen a lot of very confident Panthers fans out there, and I guess you have bias when you're a fan of a team, but like people are like Cats in 4, Cats in 5, and I'm like, I would be shocked if it ended that way. I mean, I was shocked that the Tampa series ended that way, so I mean, I guess it could happen. I don't think so. As Cass mentioned, we struggled against them during the regular season.
Jose.
Did not win a game against them, but they were all tight games. It wasn't like these are blowouts. One was a 2-goal game, and it was not an empty netter, so I can't even take. It was a 2-goal game, truly. I think it's going to be hard fought, but I am going to go Cats in 6.
Ethan, just don't choose the Bruins after your round 1 predictions, please. Bless you.
I'm gonna go Bruins in 5.
Okay, I like that. I don't really like it at the same time.
I genuinely do think Bruins in 5. I think they're mad,
They're also
and
tired.
I think it's going to be like this reverse. You know, people like to say rest is good. You don't want to face a super rested team. I think too much rest can hurt you, and Boston's
agree.
just basically going right back into it.
I mean, look at
See,
what
who do
happened
you
with
have?
them.
Yeah.
Look at what happened with them last year with that week off that they had in between the conference final and the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I
I
want to
think
know
you're right.
something because I've
true,
already had to
though.
comment this on like a million people's things, and I'm going to do it again because I am tired of it. So, in between the second round and the third round, when we beat Toronto in 5, we had 6 days of rest before we swept Carolina. So,
Yeah, but you had
it don't
7 for
make
that
a
other one,
lick-
so that's what
don't
happened.
make a lick of difference.
I think
whether
that was
you
more
have
on Carolina.
or not. Okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, people try. to
Who
pull
is the home?
excuses.
Who is the home team? Carolina versus Florida.
Oh, if you're asking next round,
No,
No,
I'm
no,
asking
last
last
year.
year.
last
the
year,
home team,
Carolina
Florida,
was
Carolina?
the home team because Florida
Who's
was
the home
first to
team?
make the playoffs.
Vegas or Florida?
Vegas was
Vegas.
home.
Okay. Okay.
Florida was the worst
Okay.
team to make the playoffs, so they were going to be away. no
Oh,
matter
that's
what.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Lot more travel for the Stanley Cup Finals for you guys, though.
All I'm saying is that whether you have a long rest or you don't have enough rest, it's not going to matter. The Boston, obviously, they already have the intensity up, but they're also, you can say, they're pretty worn out from a tough series where all the games were tight. And then Florida's, they've had their rest. Some people say it's rust. I say it don't matter. Don't let that affect. If people try to, if Florida loses in 5 and they say, well, is that rest? I don't want to hear it. It's just bull crap. We had this much rest and we swept Carolina. It doesn't.
Jesse, who did you say?
I haven't had the opportunity to. I am going to go with Boston in 6. I do think that they are looking for retribution from what happened last year. I think that they're upset that in themselves that they had the Toronto Maple Leafs push them to 7. I think they're going to look to get something going here. Bruins in 6.
Okay, I can be the only one
Like
who's right on all these again.
I'm still waiting for your
Very
bet.
smug of you.
What do you want to do here, Brett?
I don't know. I've never done a bet or anything like that before.
Doesn't have
I'm
to
not
be
a betting
monetary.
dude.
We have to come up with
I
something.
definitely wouldn't do anything with money.
How about
I
if
want the rest of
Boston-
the pod to pick something? As long as
If
it's not money
Boston
related.
wins, Brett has to come on in, non-Panthers gear, just give a sincere go Bruins, and explain to everyone that the reason Florida lost was because they had too much rest.
I'm down with that. I will take
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I might even mail you a Bruins hat that you'll have to do that in.
Well, what does Cass have to do if he loses?
If I could find Florida Panthers gear here, I would wear it as part
Okay.
of this losing bet. But I don't think I'm going to be able to find anything around here. I would
You
do
have
the
to-
same thing.
Just get a Panthers hat from Amazon.
I can do that. I can do that. And then return it right away, saying it was defective, and it's
You got to
Hey,
say it's
as
'cause
long as you wear
didn't have enough rest.
Oh, look at that, Tony D'Angelo being a scumbag. Shocking. Anyway,
So My thing with
Kreider's
this-
boarding.
okay. Relax. It's under official review still.
We got to get to the end of this thing. We're coming
Yeah,
up
we have
on
to
an
get to
hour
the
and a
end.
half.
Obviously, you could say the too much rest thing, all that BS. Florida had their way last year, but the Bruins also were up 3-1 at one point last year. What I remember is most of those Florida Tampa Bay games weren't close, even if the scores were. Bruins are used to being in that close game, so they can win the close games. I think this is going to be a very tight series. I think there's going to be injuries on both sides. It's going to be a hard-fought series. I don't think there's going to be as many hits in the first game as there was in the Boston-Toronto game, which was wild. But I do have Bruins in 6 games. I think they're going to win it at home on the Garden Ice, and then they're going to not sweep Carolina.
All right.
Boston in 6. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is Edmonton versus Vancouver. Surprisingly, Edmonton is 0-4-0 against the Canucks this season. They lost 3-1, 6-2, 4-3, and 8-1. We know Elias Lindholm is now a Canuck. If I remember correctly, did Edmonton do anything too crazy for the trade deadline? I don't think they did anything
they
wild.
got Adam Henrique.
That's right,
Corey Perry.
and
They
Carrick.
Corey Perry.
Perry. Yep. So, a lot. I should have got the odds for all this stuff, but apparently I suck, so I didn't do that. We'll go to Amanda. Who do you got and why? And before we go into this, hold on. Brian Santiago, you need to have a little bit more faith in your team. How can you say Panthers in 6? You're supposed
Let's
to be a
go.
Bruins fan. You are now my least favorite Bruins fan. Amanda, your prediction, please.
Brian, don't worry, you are still my favorite. So what Cass thinks doesn't really matter.
Cash
Edmonton, Vancouver.
just banned him from the chat.
You know,
Poor Brian.
I'm going Oilers so we can have a rematch of 06.
I guess
The Rangers scored.
how many games?
Jesse, shush.
he didn't say
How
How many
anything.
games, Amanda?
I can see him, and I know he's gonna say something.
Is someone
I say
talking?
5.
Edmonton in 5. Thank you. Brett.
I have the same result, actually, and it's because I think with Vancouver having to come down to their third string goalie, basically, he obviously did very well against Nashville, but this is the Edmonton Oilers. This is Connor McDavid. This is Leon Draisaitl. I think they're going to have their way with this goaltender. I think he steals one game, maybe game 1 or 2, but then Edmonton's going to steamroll him.
Ethan, why do you have the LA Kings? No, just kidding. Go ahead.
I think I'm gonna go Oilers in 6.
Excellent. And Jesse.
This is a much different Edmonton Oilers team than it is from the beginning of the year. Obviously, we know what happened to Edmonton when they faced Vancouver in the first 2 games of the season. I think that Edmonton's got it in 5.
Man,
I have
3
Edmonton
people,
in
Edmonton in 5.
I have Edmonton in 6. I think even though he is the third string goalie, he did play pretty good last round.
He did.
He did.
But you are playing against 2 of the top 3 people in the league. You can't stop them. I don't care if you did have Thatcher Demko fully healthy in net. I would still be choosing Edmonton. So I have Edmonton in 6. For this next one, because Dallas sucks and they couldn't finish it in Game 6,
Yeah.
we have to take extra time and do a flip-flop and pretend there's a chance of them losing. So, the first one, we have Vegas, Colorado. Colorado Avalanche had a 2-1 record versus the Golden Knights this season. They won 3-2, they won 3-0, and they lost 3-2. So they won 1-3-2, they lost 1-3-2, and they won 1-3-0. Who do you have and why, Amanda? Games.
Come back to me. I'm posting the
Okay.
goal.
Brian,
He just wants to hear everyone else's.
yes, Demko is still week to week. They haven't announced anything updated.
I thought they already said he's going to be out for the rest of the playoffs. I
Did
thought I
they?
saw something saying that. I could be wrong. I guess I could
think
be
it's
wrong.
week to week. I think it's week to week. Hey, who do you got for this Vegas, Colorado? Hopefully it never happens matchup.
If Vegas wins, and I'm really hoping they don't, I'm going Colorado in 4 because every time Vegas is in, I'm going to say they get swept with the hope it'll eventually happen.
Okay. Ethan?
Colorado
Colorado
in
and how many?
6.
Jesse?
I've got Colorado in 7.
It sucks because I really like Bruce Cassidy, even though he got fired here. I didn't hate the Golden Nuts. Golden Nuts.
The golden
The
testicles.
Golden Knights. The Golden Knights as much as you guys do, but Colorado is on fire. Georgiev actually seems like he wants to stop some pucks. So I'm going to do Colorado in 5 to be different from everyone. And we're back to Amanda.
I would say.
I think you didn't have
Is
any
it-
extra time or anything, Amanda.
I was posting the goal and then I was looking up an injury update for about Demko, and he has been on the ice twice but has yet to practice in a full practice with no timeline given. This is as of 2 days ago, mind you, with no timeline given for his recovery.
So, Colorado, Vegas?
Vegas in
Ugh,
6.
the worst.
He's rooting for
I'm
Vegas.
sticking.
Okay.
I actually, in my bracket, have Vegas and Carolina in the finals.
So what
I can't
What
think of a
actually
worse
is-
matchup.
what actually is going to happen after tonight's game? It'll be Colorado visiting Dallas.
I
I don't like the
very weary of the
juiciness
confidence.
Dallas Stars have a 1-2-1 record versus the Avalanche this season. They lost 3-6, they lost 4-5, they lost 5-1, and they won 7-4. Oof. Amanda, who do you have and why?
This one I'd have to go. Well, sorry, there's also a child in my lap. I'd have to go gonna make it a good series. Colorado in 7.
Okay. Brett.
I hope this is the series not only because I want Vegas to lose, but also because I think this would be a really good series, Dallas and Colorado. I would pick Dallas in 7.
Ethan.
This is definitely a series I'd be happy to stay up late and watch. For
Dallas in 6.
Jesse.
Dallas in 6.
I also have Dallas in.
It can't be 5. Don't say 5. Okay, good.
In overtime. Purely because it's so close that I don't know who to choose, but I have a future in on Dallas. So going Dallas on that one.
You know,
Right.
honestly,
Oh.
I could easily see tonight's game going to overtime.
Yeah, I'm not staying up for that.
Brian says
I'll be staying up.
Colorado in 6 against Vegas, Dallas in 7 against Colorado.
I don't hate that. Yeah,
Yep,
baby.
Tonight is the time to do it. So,
please, let's see Jason Robertson score 5 goals. Do it.
you know,
Wyatt
one stat I
Johnston.
did see.
Wyatt Johnston would probably be more likely. He's been hot.
Yeah. One stat I did see today, Pete DeBoer is 7-0 in game 7s.
Is
That's
he?
a scary record. That's a good record,
Yeah.
but it's scary.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about any of it. As soon as that empty netter went in on Friday night, my friend and I, we just
I don't
shrieked.
Shep.
We were, Cheppy. Cheppy and I were just distraught that we had to go to the game today. So
Ethan's
be there.
gonna.
It's brutal being that rich, being able to go to Game 7 in the first round of playoffs. Oh, geez.
hey, we get 2 rounds.
Ethan
And they're actually, for Dallas, like round 1, these tickets are like $45.
What the?
What?
For season ticket holders? Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's a great deal.
That's how much I paid for Tom Brady's retirement.
What were you saying, Jesse?
Ethan's gonna text me after this game. Either way, he's either gonna be happy drunk or sad drunk.
I will be leaving the arena with tears, regardless.
Regardless, yes.
With a shorter head of hair, one way or another. So let me ask you a question. If Dallas wins the whole thing, do you still have to cut your hair?
Yeah, I will then cut my hair and get a tattoo.
It's whatever their last game of the season is, and so their
Mhm.
last game could be them winning the game.
He's gonna get a
Yes, yeah.
tattoo. What was the tattoo of?
If we win the
No,
cup,
that's-
I'll get the Stars logo, probably on my shin.
I've
Oh my
been
God, I was gonna say on your butt.
I'm like tempted to do that if the Florida wins. I don't know if I would. I have 2 tattoos already. They're huge, but I might get a little.
Keep your shirt on.
They're on my arm.
Well, I've
So-
got one.
Like,
Which
Imagine
which
if you did that
ass
and Amanda's
cheek?
still staring at her phone.
Which ass cheek, left or right?
Right down the middle.
It's actually
Alan asked earlier,
All right.
and we didn't get to it. We all know he's gone. Who replaces Sheldon Keefe next season?
Gerard Gallant.
that would be. I'm sure they still have Mike Babcock's number, right?
Mike Babcock though gave advice to the Bruins.
Was that real?
for
I thought
Game
that was
7.
fake.
I think that's real.
No, I'm pretty sure that's real.
Wow.
So he's definitely not going back to Toronto.
I don't think he's going to be a coach in the NHL ever again.
Ever.
So. Brian
I
says
don't
Craig
get-
Berube.
Thank you.
Dave
That's what I
Haxtell.
was gonna say. Too.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I don't know how he doesn't have a job yet.
Toronto
Really?
Maple Leafs head coach Dave Haxtell. I like that. Send them to Toronto.
Before we wrap this up, one thing, if you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching on Twitter/X, one
And
thing we
YouTube now.
did, yeah, and YouTube
Back to
again.
YouTube.
We started doing this live spaces on X where it's really just a conversation, no cameras or anything. It's just like just for audio. And if you guys join us, when we do those, we just do them randomly, typically after a game. You can actually join and speak and talk with us rather than just chatting. So Jesse and I had a good time the other night. Went a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, it was like 35 minutes. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. but it was fun.
You can join us. As he mentioned, if you have something to say, you could kind of like raise your hand and we can give you the opportunity to speak. But if you say something dumb, we're going to abuse you.
Man.
We're going to abuse you. So don't say anything dumb.
Speaking about abusing, when the hell is the NHL going to come out with the second round schedule?
The East is out.
We have the dates, but not the time.
I mean, times.
Oh.
Probably
Very
I think
after
important.
times are
tonight.
super up in the air.
Probably after tonight, they'll have times.
They'll definitely have it after.
Acceptable.
But
Anything else, lady and gentlemen?
just prayers for Ethan tonight
Yes.
as he heads downtown.
Good luck. May the force be with you. Revenge of the Fifth, all that good
Go
shit.
Stars.
You should,
Really should have been yesterday, the game. I mean, Star Wars Day.
you should live tweet everything.
God. Just
And he-
faces from the arena. All we hear is
All we hear is collective sadness.
Did
Collective
you guys see
sadness.
the video of Toronto after the Boston OT goal? Just dead silence.
I wish that I could be there for something like that. I would love to go up to Maple Leaf Square for misery, straight misery, just absolute
Just a dead-
misery.
dead silent crowd, and you just hear Jesse start.
Yeah, yeah, go Bruins! I'll wear my Taylor Hall Bruins Centennial jersey that I got for no reason.
So we were talking. I was talking about apparently Golden Nuts earlier. One kid in the black and gold jersey. That kid's got huge cojones. I would never in my life be the only one in that square with the Bruins jersey on after they wipe the floor with them.
I
and
saw
all the time.
that.
I would have been scared crapless.
What are they going to do? Drown him in tears? The worst thing
I
they
don't
could
know,
do.
But you are in a foreign nation, probably.
Do you think Nylander allowed the team to cry this time?
I would hope
think
so.
that
I'm
was
sure
okay.
he had tears as well.
Yeah, because he's stuck with that team for another 8 years.
People are putting Marner on blast and Riley on blast and Samsonov on blast. You look at that play,
That was
it's
not
such a
Samsonov's
bang-bang
fault.
play, like,
That was
No, it wasn't.
No way. No way.
I don't agree either.
As critical as I have been of Ilya Samsonov, there is no. I mean, that dude was given 4 hours notice that he was going to be the starter. They told him at 2 p.m. Eastern time that he was going to be the starter, and he played lights out all game. That is not
100%.
Samsonov's fault. No chance in hell.
He did well despite it.
Cry about Austin Matthews. Cry about Austin Matthews, who did nothing.
He got the assist
They-
on their only goal.
They
Nothing.
had the worst injury luck in this series I've ever seen. But at the
Right.
same time,
Like, in
like,
the series.
yeah, like it's just Wold and Matthews and Nylander. They didn't really have a full team at all, which works for me because I loved it. But if you only allow in basically one goal, because in my mind, overtime anyone wins, and your team doesn't come through for you, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
we
we
played
almost
lights
made
out.
it.
Swayman, no, I said,
No, he
Said it
dropped
earlier.
something earlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna drop something pretty soon too.
So,
All right,
anyways,
let's go. Everyone, have a great
that
week.
wraps it up
Go
for
Bruins.
us. Follow us on X at Top Shelf Dusters. Yeah.
Facebook at Top Shelf Dusters. Facebook.com/TopShelfDusters. You can email us, TopShelfDusters@gmail.com. Let's get this done. My name is Jesse.
This is Brett.
This is Cass.
This is a very nervous Ethan.
And this is Amanda.
Go
Down
Panthers.
2-1.
Did Amanda go? I can't hear her.
She did.
Go Stars.
She did. She said, "This is Amanda," and I said, "They're down 2-1."
All right, let's let Casco drop something. Have a good one, everybody.
Okay.